Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are discussing about RESTful ABAP programming model. In this video, we are going to talk about determination. So what is the syntax for determination? Like validation, we start with the determination name, on, save or modify. Then we mention trigger conditions. So basically determination will help us to modify the business object instance data. We know that trigger conditions are modify operations or modify fields. Okay, there are two types of determination here. Determination of save, determination of modify. Determination of save, there is a basic difference between these two is determination of save will execute in the save sequence phase. Determination of modify will execute in the interaction phase, which means whenever the commit entities statement is found, then determination of save will get triggered. Normally determination of modify will get triggered in our interaction phase itself. Okay, like validation, determination's order will not be determined if more than one has been defined. Determination's results should be always the same. Whenever we execute it multiple times, the results will be always the same. Okay, let's discuss about a couple of examples so where we can apply the determination. Let's see the first example. Here, this is the circle with the radius r. So I need to find circumference and area of the circle. So these are the three columns. Consider these are the three columns already in my business object: radius, circumference, area. Where I need to get an input from the user in the radius. So based on the radius value, I need to determine the circumference and area and display to the user bar. In this scenario, I can use determination with the when I get the radius. So based on this radius value, I can determine the circumference and area. Correct. So the another example is here. Okay. So there is a due date here from 1 to, let's say, a new employee is onboarding in your team or in your company, and you may want to find out experience of the new employee. So in this case, you can either ask experience directly, or you can determine it based on from and to date of the previous companies or total companies experiences. Okay, if they are starting of the career is May 15, 2016 or something, and to date is a current data, some other previous dates. Okay, so this is the inputs you need to get it from the user. So based on these inputs, you need to derive the experience of the person, right? So basically we can determine the new values based on the existing value. So these column values should be the dependent one. For example, here the radius, circumference and area. So these three columns are really a dependent one. So that is the reason. So based on these inputs, we are able to determine the other columns. Likewise here, the from and to is really a mandatory field to determine to calculate the experience of the employee. Okay. So okay, this is our application. So here I have slightly modified the data model actually. So to explain the determination deeply. So here we have a initially we were having a status. Okay, now I have changed it to the overall status. Okay, and if we go inside here, this is our item. Okay, before we were not having the subtask status. Okay, so I have added it newly in order to explain the determination. So why I have changed it, So consider for each task header we have n number of task items. Okay, so this header data, the header tells us what is the overall status for this task. Okay, which means if it was not started completely, or it was completely fully, or it was still in progress. Few tasks might still in progress, or few tasks might already have completed. So for this reason, I have ordered this subtask status in the task item. Okay, so what exactly I want to show it in the demo is, let's say if I create it here, okay, header, so I might need to provide the overall status here. So I don't want to provide the overall status, because uh, this overall status has to be determined based on the item subtask statuses. That is what I'm going to determine. So this is the overall status I'm going to determine. Okay, let's say for example I provide a task ID and eliminations example. So here I don't provide the overall status. Okay, if I don't provide, what will happen is, as our validation will tell us, we have to provide mandatory. Okay, so we have to first fix this issue. Okay, then basically if we want to fix the issue, we can give a default overall status here. So for example, in the task level, while creating, I need to provide a default overall status. Maybe you're not started, it should be a appropriate one to provide here. Okay, so first we'll do this. Okay, then we'll go into the item level details and try to determine the overall status based on the item statuses. Let's discuss about it. So I'll open the Eclipse. So this is my behavior definitions, where I'm already having at the task level, I'm already having the task status validation, so which is on status. Okay, so this task status is nothing but, if you check it here, so this is validate start task status. What I'm doing, I'm reading the business object instance which is going to be create. Then I'm simply raising error message if it is between 1 and 3. Even if it is empty, then it will raise an error message saying that start task status should be between 1 and 3. So either I can remove this validation, which would help, but instead of that, I'm going to order determinations and add a default value for the task status. Okay, so let's get started here. So determination task status on save. So I'm going to use on save while creation. So this is done. I quickly activate and I will implement this new determinations in our local handlers. So what we have to do, just click here, use quick assist view, double click here, so which already would have defined for me the determine task status. So activate this quickly. So here, irrespective of any cases, I need to set this as a default of not started. Okay, so I'm going to write a modify entity statement here quickly. Entity my task. So what I'm going to do, I'm update the value. Update from value. I have to mention definitely here key. So this is task ID. What is our input? It's a keys, and I'm going to read the first record. I have given it. So which column we are going to update its task status. So task status equal to okay. Here default is 1, which means not started. So I should not forget the control, otherwise it will not work. Okay. Check if any failed or reported. So what it is showing error is okay, reported, it's already defined something. Okay, let me quickly format this and activate it. Okay, it got activated. Just quickly test the scenario. So for example, here that's same overall status. I don't give anything. Let's create it. Yeah. So as you can see here, it's by defaulting it's given as a not started. So okay, so we have default values for the overall status when while creation. Okay, so we come into the task item. So let me try to create it. So just I'll give some value. I just make this as a mandatory. Okay, so for example, I give here a not started, then I provide a due date. Subtask name is subtask 1. So I create it. So it has been created successfully. Okay, so I create another item to with in progress. So due date I set to today date. Subtask 2. Okay, it has been created successfully. So you could see here subtask is one item is not started, another item is in progress. But still, if we check the overall status for this task header, it's still not started, that we set as a default. Okay, so what I'm going to determine is, so based on the item subtask is, okay, I'm going to determine the overall status automatically, which means whatever the item subtask is having, let's say if it is having in progress completely, or it all the tasks are completed or not started, so based on that I decide what we can provide for the overall status. Okay, so this is what determination demo we are going to see in this video. I go back to my Eclipse. So this is my determination at the header level. Okay, but what we have to do, still we are going to determine value for the header level. Okay, still we are going to determine the value for the header level, but when we create or when we update the items, okay, so based on that it should automatically determine the overall state. So whenever I add a new subtask items, or whenever I am modifying the new or existing subtask items, so this overall status should be automatically determined according to our logic. So as it is a task item, so I'm going to add a determination at the item level. So determine overall status on save while create and also while update. I'm going to determine the overall status. So activated. Let me implement the determination. Double click over here. Okay, it has been implemented in our local handler. class. So you could see we are in the item level, and we would get only the item UUID key fields, right? Okay, so before that we decide on what basis we are going to determine the on what basis we are going to determine the value for overall status. For example, if let's say if all items are all items are in completed status, then set overall status as completed. Which means completed fixed value is 3. Okay, so okay, then if any one of the item status is in progress, then you set overall status as in progress, that is 2. If else otherwise we can set overall status as not started, which is 1. Okay, this is our logic for determining the overall status of the task header. So we are in the task item business object. So here we would get only one instance of task item UUID. Correct. So we need to first find out what is the task UUID for the task. Okay, so once we get the task UUID, we are going to retrieve all the task item and its status. So based on that, we will make our logic for the overall status determination. So first we are going to get task UUID. Once we find out task UUID, then we are going to get all items subtask status. If we know all the subtask status, then we determine overall status logic. Then once we determine overall status, we are going to modify to the current task header. So this is the 4 step we are going to do. First I will retrieve the task UUID. So I'm going to use a read YAML of my behavior definition entity for task item. Directly I'm going to read the task item because here only we are having the task UUID. Okay, not all fields. I'm going to read the fields of task UUID with value key. Okay, so what is our input? Input will be in the table. So I'm reading the first record of the key task item UUID. So I put it in the result. So result is result underscore task UUID. So that's it. Okay, so which will return me the task UUID. Once I get the task UUID, I can retrieve all its items, right? So I'm going to read another readml. Okay, the entity. So here I'm going to read all the association of the task by. So what we need exactly? We need status, task status, subtask status, right? So if we check this subtask status, yeah, it's here. Okay, with value. Okay. Okay, so result task UID, and we have taken the task UID. So I put this result back to the, I put this result into this result underscore items. Okay, so for what we have done, we get the task UID. Okay, then for the particular task UID, we fetch all the items. Okay, subtask status. All right. So next step is we should determine the overall status. So we have already the logic for this. So if all items are in completed state, then we set the overall status as a completed. If any one of the item is in progress, then we set it as in progress, else not started. So the easiest condition will be the second one. So I'm going to make that first. If any one, okay, any one record is with the status in progress, we set the overall status as in progress. All right. So I'm going to use line exits. Okay. So our results will be here. Okay. Sorry, line exits. Fine. You have to mention the column. What is our column? Subtask status equal to in progress. So in progress is 2. Okay. So if anything found within progress, then we set the overall status. Overall status, I have a new variable. Set this as in progress. Cool. So what, then I make a else condition. So if in case it's not in progress, then we should first check the completed. So completed logic is if all items are now completed state, then overall status should be the completed. Data item. So in order to find all the items, to validate that is completed or not, so I have to go through all the items, right? So I'll check here item subtask status. So this is 3 is completed. Okay, so here how I'm going to compare is, so for all the entries here, okay, it should be the subtask status of completed. So to calculate all the entries, I'm going to declare a variable here let's say like completed count, which is of integer. So if if any item is completed state, then I increment this completed count as 1. Okay, so after this I have to compare with the total lines of result items. So if completed count equals to lines of our item results, in this case we set the overall status as 3. That is complete. Else we know that the fallback condition will be not started. We have a default already we default in our header level, right? Overall status is not started. So anyway, no issues. Let me format and activate. Okay, looks good. Finally, we are going to update the modify statement. So I'm going to write a modify evil. Okay, entities of my behavior definition. What is our entity task? Then what is our okay? Sorry, we are going to update the value for particular record, task getter record. So update from value. Okay, key field, we already have this. Maybe I can take this. Just simply copy this. Okay. So here I'm going to provide overall status, right? So in this header, what is the field name? It's a task status. Okay, overall status. Then control for the task status. Okay, cool. That's it. Let me quickly activate this. Okay, it's done. So very simple logic. Let's quickly test it. Okay, this is our header and item. So header. So when we have a not starter and the in progress, so one of the item has the in progress. So it suddenly changes to in progress, right? So what I do is if I go back and change this to completed or something. Okay, watch the results. It's going back. So I haven't reloaded the header. Okay, so I'm going to do it. Yeah, so it has been changed back to the not started. So quickly what I do again, I change this to completed, which means if all the items is in the completed state. Okay, watch this. I'm reloading it. Cool. So yeah, so this is the demo I wanted to show. So based on the subtask status, item status, so I wanted to determine the overall status automatically. So yeah, hope you got a clear understanding. So, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.